cheesy pick, but it's one that people aren't familiar with, is a Kennen mid. But then you also go look at Soligo. We talked and just saw Fire and Julian against each other, control mage players. Soligo there's concerns about his control mage champion pool, where he's playing Aurelia, Aatrox, and Akali a lot, and he's very good at those champions. It's just, can he branch out from that? Because he has the mechanics, he's able to play the assassins and has that game sense for it, but is he able to play the other stuff is the question. We already see the Aurelia ban here from blue side.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about a lot of these players is, like, this is the kind of meta where if you have mastery of a lot of different champions, there are so many different picks and strong flex picks that having mastery over your champions is almost never felt as important as it is. So again, you're trying to impress, you're trying to get picked up. This is the kind of environment where you can really shine. But back to the draft, as you mentioned, Lucian, the final ban there for Infernal, joining Nocturne and Aurelia. And there's Akali and Tristana, interestingly, for Mountain, with one more to go.
Yeah, potentially, I don't know if they would ban the Aatrox here or the Urgot. This feels like you might go after a support, throw another band in there. But maybe even something like a Xayah, because Xayah jumps up in priority with the Lucian and the Tristana taken away. With the LeBlanc, so it's kind of pinching that pool a little bit more, but it seems like they already have something in mind here. And the Victor flex.
I mean, I was going to say they banned 3 solo laners, generally 3 mid laners, but Victor is probably the best power pick still left open with so many of those strong champions taken away. So an easy pick either for Misty or Strom. As there's Braum. Was banned both times actually in the last series, but has clearly been a pretty standout champion in general, but especially here at Scouting Grounds as Fragas. This is what I would be afraid of.
Yeah,
he got Xin Zhao.
We didn't see a Braum or Xin Zhao last series, but it was mostly because the Xin Zhao just wasn't picked, but the Braum was banned away. Braum, very good aggressive and defensive support that enables your team. And then Fragas now has options for level 2 ganks, mixing up his strategies between games too if he gets the Xin Zhao again. But this is one where he can be very aggressive early, and you have to get something like Camille to answer a potential level 2 gank so that they'll take here for Sir Kenji. And some people might be familiar with Sir Kenji as more of a support player. He plays Phil at the top of Challenger. So when you look at his solo queue, a lot of it is mostly support and then a lot of jungle picks in there. When they looked at, there's only 4 spots for each role, right? He was the number 4 jungler, but he was like the number 6 support. So even though he main support, there were more support players that had higher LP than him, so he couldn't get in as a support. So he's playing jungle here, but he does play both roles proficiently.
And I think some people have been like, hey, what's this guy doing here? Well, he's in the finals. That's what he's doing here. So has a chance to prove himself against one of the players that has looked very good in the jungle on the other side. Camille was joined by Urgot, so still some flexibility, but solo laners are sort of revealed here, at least from Infernal. And looks like Aatrox will round things out there for Mountain. Do not want to lose a power pick here as we move into phase 2 of bans.
Yep, welcome to the nebulous draft where you don't know if the Victor is top, mid, you don't know if the Urgot's going in either of those roles either, and then the Aatrox is the pick here to match where you can put it in the mid or the top. But like we had said, Soligo very good at the Aatrox himself, but Fate God can play it as well. So I think what will happen here is Mountain will save their top pick for very last. They'll pick their AD, they'll pick their marksman next. And then they'll go ahead and round out with the counter pick in the very final portion. I don't think it'll actually matter too much in that regard, though. So come to think of it, they could actually save it for later. I like the Jax ban there towards Fake God. He's actually played Jax into Victor. And even though Victor is a matchup where he takes Kleptomancy and just bullies melees out, he was able to win that matchup and smash the Victor, because Jax is his most played champion in solo queue, and it's one that he will... his counter strikes, I always feel like when I watch him, they're a little bit larger than mine. It's just like he hits the sweet spot just perfectly with it and knows that champion in and out.
There's Kennen banned as well, and 2 supports on the Mountain side with Rakan and Morgana taken away. That does leave Kai'Sa open for Prismal, who will snap it up pretty quickly. And leaving potentially counter pick for the top lane there. Mountain, of course, will have flexibility with that Aatrox. And Infernal, we'll see how they finish off this comp. They need a bot lane by the looks of things, so see what they want to take here.
And Xayah makes the most sense for safety. Fits the meta. I would say it's Xayah or Sivir, but I don't think they need a Sivir here for the composition. They don't really enable too many bruisers. It would be the Urgot, but they already have substantial wave clear. And now to round out the composition, I would say potentially Alistar or Thresh here are the 2 kind of gimmies, but it is Duo King.
Exactly. Those are not champions you generally associate with this player.
Yep.
He is the man that plays that champ right there.
If you do not know Duo King, formerly known as Consensual Clown, will play Soraka. If you've ever looked at a Sona guide at high elo, he's the guy who was like, yeah, you take tier on Sona and you get a Lich Bane and you carry the game. So Consensual Clown was his name before, but now he is Duo King. And like Danon had said, they'll probably win the early game. It's because he is the perennial play for lane support here in Scouting Grounds.
I think you put it really well when I was asking you about it. It's like, hey, this guy's playing Soraka, what's going on? Oh, there's Vel'Koz's last pick. We'll worry about that in just a second. Looks like it is going to be Aatrox top lane as a result, so fun to see that matchup play out there. And of course, we still have to see if Infernal want to flex their solo laners around, because both Victor and Urgot can fit into these lanes. But you feel like you described him as like a defensive player that plays to win lane, right? Like you play safe, but you still play to win lane.
Yeah, like there's two things that he will really go after. It's the Rakan and the Soraka so far, where if it's a lane where you can just survive, then he'll play the Soraka and then they'll win lane via like kind of out-monoing you, out-trading you over time. And then if it's a lane where he has to be responsible for the engage later, where they don't have a Camille or anything like that, he'll play the Rakan. And people have been learning that about him slowly but surely. He hovered the Sona, but I don't think he's played it yet in the Scouting Grounds. He's been pretty much alternating between Soraka and the Rakan back and forth as much as he can.
Well, does have Soraka this go round. It looks like we are finished off with the solo laners locked in. They will be as they were in the champ select. So Victor top lane, Urgot mid, and Aatrox, as we saw before, top side there for Mountain. Very curious to see the top lane matchup here between these two. And of course, that means we'll have to watch where the junglers go as well, because they'll be involved almost assuredly in whatever happens there in the early game.
Yeah, have to watch out for that. The 2-on-2 involving the top side. But like we said, it's Fragus up against Sir Kenji. One of them is a jungler that has had the top spot before, plays with a very good jungle sense. But sometimes it's hard to read somebody who doesn't play the jungle role as much as their main role of support. So see what Sir Kenji's able to do here up against Fragus, but also Fake God Misty Stumpy. That's the one that we definitely have our eyes locked in on.
These are very carry-oriented players, and they're playing carry-oriented champions this go-round. So we'll see what happens here in our first game of our next best of 3. It is the Scouting Grounds final between Infernal and Mountain. Get the Battle Drakes in there. We've abandoned Ocean and Cloud. Although, curious to see, of course, what spawns first. And looks like everyone has been taking note of the safe fan out here.
Yep, fan out so that nothing kind of affects your performance early. If people get like level 1s and it's like, we want to see who can win lane, right? Like having 2 kills at the start of the game and then coming to lane and just smashing lane doesn't tell scouts anything. So might as well just have your setup, ward the scuttle, see what people do with information and how they play off that. I think that's much easier for people to actually decipher who's doing well and who's actually, I would say, like pretty good at the game in a normal state.
Minions have spawned.
Well, it looks like junglers might actually meet early here because there is some sort of ward battle going, but they stuck around. They actually will get the ward kill in the Pixel Brush after camping it for a while and then ward themselves. So have good coverage here of that side, of that Scuttle Crab side. See if Stumpy does commit his own ward as well for a bit of additional coverage. Looks like he will. He wants to make sure he has that place warded.
So they got that early ward kill, tiny bit of experience over to them. Quick leash there from Fake God to go towards the top side. You can see Misty Stumpy is already working on thinning the wave a bit.
And with that, before we go any further, Zirene, we do actually have a sideline report, so we'll throw it down to Ovali, who's standing by with Prolly.
Thanks, guys. I am standing here with Prolly, coach of 100 Thieves, but more importantly, today, Team Mountain. What has impressed you the most about these players so far?
They're just never done learning or working. Like, this is kind of a, not a vacation, but it's like, this is an exciting like thing for them to join, really. It's not like work. They're not getting paid for this, but we're finished scrimming and they're not really done. They're like, you know, what can I improve on next? Like, can we get more scrim games? So it's kind of like, all right, guys, it's 12 o'clock. We're going to go to sleep. So it's really refreshing that it kind of never ends for them and they're just so hungry to learn more. And it's just very like, honest and inspiring.
Really quick, what's the biggest lesson that you've taught them so far?
Oh, the biggest lesson? Be as one. It's a team game. Always be playing together, like pick each other up, you know, friendship, camaraderie. It's really important.
Well, Prolly, thank you and best of luck to your team. Back to the casters.
Thank you very much. Very enlightening there from Prolly as Fragus is on the warpath once again. Already run the Scuttle Crab battle, now going straight for the mid lane. That's going to force Strompa's flash.
Yeah, it looked like Strompus actually had buffered the E, and then Fragus got the E in as well, and just got flipped back instead of Strompus actually traveling. So he burns the flash there, but during that, we saw that Fragus was able to actually push Zirene off of the bottom Scuttle Crab based on his route where he went red to other Scuttle and had a ward there. And look at that, Duo King already flashed, and he has marks on him.
He has to know what's happening. Here's Fragus again. There's the flash forward, looking for the first blood, is going to grab it. And now Braum again may claim yet another, a double kill for the Zin.
Yep, Fragus, well, said he's Faker on the Rift, gonna 1v9, but there's some setup there from his team. Great from Call Lin to get those first initial little punches off and get that stack going for the concussive blows. But that's what you were expecting, where we said Duo King and Tactical, they're just winning the lane. That's what they're all about right now. And Saligo gonna have to burn both summoners there.
He tried really hard to hold on to his flash, but unfortunately could not do so. Some good pressure there to at least get the summoners out, but we'll see if a revisit is due in just a moment. Looks like Zirene will start with the Raptors here.
We'll see this one more time, because watch Call Lin, goes with the flash Q, and then gets another hit off. So there's 2 stacks on Duo King, the flash into the just stun. Completion from Fragus, and just beautiful there from Call Lin to allow the pressure to come in, but that was good control.
Oh wow, he got it. Now actually a fight gonna break out. Soligo can't really join, but that invade kind of went pear-shaped for Kendrick. He wanted the Raptors and still didn't get the big one.
And I honestly think like that, if you look at what happened to make that happen, it starts from the first killing of the ward on the top side. Because then he gets red buff, he goes all the way to the bottom side, they see the Camille doing the Scuttle Crab and going for the gank there and knowing his route. They take the Scuttle Crab away. This forces Camille to go top side to get her red and Scuttle Crab because she hates doing multi animal camps, like not killing the Raptors, the Krugs, etc. Like before you have your Hunter's Talisman, it really is terrible. So I like that that was all set up there, but it's also the lane that wants to play aggressive. It's a double range lane with a Soraka with Aerie that wants to go after this lane with the Braum and the Kai'Sa. So this seems like a well thought out route / game plan from Fragus, where he was gonna start top, go immediately to bottom to throw off the enemy jungler, and then take over the bottom side and section off the map and make that play happen, because the bottom lane with Soraka, you want to push.
Exactly, and it's not the first time I've seen this happen from Fragus. I think it's a hallmark of a strong jungler when you continually look at them play and you think to yourself, man, that guy was really in the right place there. How is he always in the right place at the right time? And it turns out, when you're very good at the game, you just think about these things, you consider the variables, and more often than not, you're doing the right thing in where you choose to go. Because it is a very open field as far as where you can go from early jungle routes. And as we've seen, jungle influence is so important in the early game that what you actually do matters a lot.
Yeah, it's like you can read the map state, but predicting the map state or guessing what it's going to be like based off of lanes in the next 2 minutes is very important for junglers at the highest level. And that's what separates a lot of people, is the visualization of where things are going to be, and also the communication of, can you make it look like this in a minute? Can you freeze the wave? Because this is what I'm going to do. And it felt like that was very, the pieces fell into the right place too perfectly, that I refuse to believe that that was not something that was planned out from his route initially, because that is just too serendipitous at that point.
I have to agree. And again, he's looked good, looked very intelligent with a lot of his early pathing, so continuing to look good there. To have a pause, as I'm sure you all are aware, Call Lin apparently cannot see at the bottom of his shop screen, which is a little awkward, but hopefully we get that fixed up ASAP and ourselves back into the game. It is interesting, though, that, I mean, I guess we could have expected it given how much we've seen and heard from Fragus, but all of a sudden, like, we were expecting maybe the top lane to tip the scales a little bit more, but we haven't seen them just yet. Really, early on in the series, it does feel like it's very jungler-centric. And I think maybe that fits the metagame as well, because junglers, there are a lot of aggressive junglers that are strong that you can play, and the things you do early, as always, matter, but they matter, I feel like, even more given the current jungle pool.
Yeah, and also Zirene, you know, he's a support player, but also he plays jungle at the high level as well, like we were saying. But the junglers that he would play are kind of like Sejuani, more defensive junglers. It's not like all about the Camille or the Graves or being up in people's faces, those high mechanical junglers that rely on skirmishing. It's more the team fight oriented, I'm helping supportive junglers, and those are not in vogue right now. They are completely, pretty much out of the meta. It's you'll struggle to find one, and I think that would be Gragas, who would be like the highest up there, where you have a little bit more tankiness and durability in the mid game. But Zirene versus Fragis, this becomes kind of a difference in styles too, and how they play the game, because Zirene is definitely a little more defensive in the way that he plays, whereas Fragis is very aggressive, reads the map and predicts what the map is going to be like, and kind of sets things up. So it's going to be a matchup where I feel like Fragis, with those 2 kills, is going to be able to get a lot done with the map.
I have to agree, but to Kenji's credit, I thought maybe he'd fall back on some of the more utility junglers, but has been playing to the meta. Again, because so much of this event is trying to prove yourself to the people that are watching you very closely. But we are going to pop ourselves back into the game. Prismal hanging out right now, but not solo for too much longer. Fragis picks up the blue buff and runs left side.
Runs left side, potentially to go into the jungle and place down the ward. And he's going to wait for that Scuttle Crab, because Camille's love Scuttle Crabs, so you want to be able to take them away as fast as possible. And this gives you more vision on the bottom side, which is where he's been playing. And Duo King without summoner spells, if he's going to push up, it's going to be so hard to do so. And now he's going to sweep and go. Oh, spotted Zirene there for just a quick second, and that's going to make him back off.
No, but still gets the requisite information. Is going to be spotted now by the Scryer's Bloom. Can see that ward, though. Maybe hoping to take that one out. Going to move in and chop it down.
Defending his own simultaneously. And Saligo, with that level 6, they're going to push in, thinking that he has pressure. So yeah, just gets to see that the Raptor camp is down, and now he'll go back to clearing his jungle. And you can see, like they were saying, or like Otto was saying on the desk, jungle just completely shifts. Like, it's a carry-oriented role in solo queue. And then now in the meta, you do play carries, but at the same time, you can't just AFK farm. It's about being active, supporting your laners. You can't just keep going and doing Krugs every single time that they're up and having your jungle on cooldown just to try and get ahead of the enemy jungler. Zirene gonna roll away, and they'll save that control ward that'll regen.
Yeah, another good bit of team play actually from Mountain. Had the bot lane push, moved in to protect that control ward, knowing that Kenji was looking for something around the other side. This has interestingly isolated the top lane. So we'll pop back there in just a moment. Just Stumpy has his Hex got upgrade #1 finish versus the Warhammer there from Fake God. And in a matchup that we haven't seen that much of, at least in recent memory, the 2 carry players are going blow for blow right now, at least as far as the CS goes now. Klepto is going to tip the scales a little bit in Victor's favor whenever he does get some bonus gold, but again, Fake God, even in matchups that you would expect him maybe be not as good, he is performing pretty well.
This might be another stun on him.
Yep, does land the stun, going to go in. Good block there on the W, but it's not enough. The Ignite will pick up the kill there for Braum.
Yeah, fact that he doesn't have his flash. As soon as they land the Q, that was Call in going for kind of a fake out there. It looked like he was going for tactical, and then he just shifts to the side, puts the Q on Duo King, and is able to just land it, and they're able to deliver it. Going after the Soraka, focusing that one first is so important. And you were talking about like a matchup that you will typically lose. That's something that you have to watch out for here, because like I said, Fake God knows how to play those Jax matchups into things like Victor, and the Aatrox matchup as well. These are not simple matchups to play. You can regen a decent amount, but you have to watch out for the poke that comes out from Victor in the early parts of the game, because you'll just get zoned off the wave, and right now the CS is even.
I mean, yeah, given the relative power of Victor as a champion, which right now is at pretty high, it is impressive. You know what, just give him Victor. I can deal with that.
Nope, this is a Scuttle fight, and Infernal are actually 3 people here first.
Should be okay. Gonna get zoned off here. Can't really get on top of the Scuttle to go left. So Kenji and Stumpy able to make sure they collect it for themselves.
And Fake God, the wave is in a really bad spot for him now up against the ranged champion. Right there, he would have really liked to potentially recall during that time instead of having to contest the Scuttle.
Might actually just have to back off anyway.
Yeah, because now he doesn't really get to do anything for the next few seconds here, except go after the control ward and hope that Camille isn't there to gank him as soon as he goes for it.
Isn't quite close enough, as we can see. Kenji actually in the blue side jungle right now, and does have now Fragis behind him, just making sure, covering in case Camille was there, which is another smart little dip in.
Yep, and Fragis got spotted because he went through the Scuttle Crab after going over the wall with the Blast Cone. But this is Fragis actually helping out. This is what a top laner loves to see, is when the jungler will come to help try and break a freeze, but it's just going to be barely enough. I think this will actually slow push back towards Fate God, so now he'll take the recall.
Unfortunately for Fragus, he did have to use his flash. Stumpy also used his, but I think the chains were enough to not need to flash. Maybe thought there was a kill on the horizon, but not to be this time around. And Tactical, despite, again, Duo King having some struggles in the lane, is just fine as far as CS goes. Probably expected in this kind of matchup, but still good to see the lane staying afloat, although that early gold will eventually become something there as Prismal and Colin build up that advantage and spend that extra gold. Vel'Koz though hanging out. Seen a lot of Urgot mid today, curiously.
Yeah. It's a good champion, but he's got Cole in this matchup too to try and spike himself for later. But Fate God, yeah, just wait for the wave to come in, and he'll just clean this one right up. Because he was slow pushing back towards him, decided not to go for the recall. And Fragus on the bottom side of the map, so yeah, now he definitely has to play defensive.
Yeah, level 6 for both junglers as well. And there's an ulti from Stumpy. Knows that he can pressure him down. Maybe even force out an ulti. Good on-board dash, so gets him out.
But this kind of sucks for him because now he has to recall and TP back in. He'll miss, I think, maybe one minion and maybe the cannon on top of it. But it does get the TP out of him.
Yeah, gets the dirt, goes back. No, second upgrade there for the Hex 4 as well for Misty. Kenji also able to get the Rift Herald in and amongst it all, so we are playing pretty split map at this point. Fragus' early attention went bot side, so trying to utilize Victor's advantage there, although it looks like a Drake will be started. Mountain again, trying to make sure they don't fall behind as far as overall map goes. Wanting to trade, at least trade objectives now that the Rift Herald's gone. Be okay to do so as well. Bot lane, from their early advantage, able to push up pretty comfortably.
And he's probably just going to have to play to that bottom side right now because I'm looking at Misty Stumpy. Q max first for the Victor top instead of the E. Not worrying too much about wave clear and shoving the wave over and over again. It's more about the trading power for the top laners. Already has the Q and the E upgraded. And this puts Fate God in a position where he just has to kind of sit back, wait for the wave to come towards him. And as soon as it's at this 3/4 place, this is one of the worst places to have the wave as a top laner. It just means you gotta sit around, don't get greedy for the CS, just get the experience, take the L, especially when you don't have really deep vision either, because then you don't know if the jungler is there. And especially when your jungler's playing to the bottom side, so he's doing kind of a great job in a bad situation right now.
Which I think is very impressive for a player that is clearly very talented and is probably used to just outplaying people a lot of the time, right? To have discipline to be like, you know what? This is a position where I have to actually play back instead of try and outplay you and do something silly. So good to see him showing some resolve as Fragus absolutely shows himself in mid, but is covering the wave right now. Might as well take a few while you're there.
Yeah, why not? Just go ahead, help yourself. Right. Looks like going for a ward there. Strompist is going for a ward in the jungle. Didn't actually place one down on his way in, so a fake that he put a ward in that area. And there's Fragus going to clean up this area, so they're trying to It's an interesting map state at the moment because Fragus is on the top side of the map where most of the control is from Infernal, whereas Mountain has so much control of the bottom side with their control wards being very close to mid. And you can see that the bottom lane for Infernal is trying very hard to just have shallow control so that they can at least see the ganks that are coming, because that turret is very close to being knocked over. And, oh, doesn't quite make it.
Yeah, misses the flash hook shot there, and now going to turn it back around. Kenji going to get lasered to death as Fragus picks up yet another kill.
Fragus in there again, 3-0 on the Xin Zhao so far. And that was just a great, people are saying like, right place, right time. Well, there was a control ward that was cleared out on the top side. Sir Kenji thought that maybe he didn't do his due diligence and is now on the top side of the map still, but he just swapped to the bottom, went towards his own control wards. Sir Kenji went towards a blind area that was controlled by Mountain and didn't get the flash off appropriately. And I don't even know if getting the flash onto the Vel'Koz would have made a difference there.
Yeah, hard to say, but find out maybe next time around as Soligo goes back, spends his extra gold, and already has the Twin Shadows finish, is going Glacial Augment, which is something we've seen very popular among the Aries and the Vel'Kozes of the world.
It became very popular when people started picking up Twin Shadows again. Now Fate got his lane kind of in trouble here. This Fragus is already on his way in here, so I actually don't know if they'll even get this. Yeah, they won't. Was already on his way.
Yeah, nice timing once again. I mean, Fake God is struggling in the CS department because Stumpy is basically hard frozen the lane as much as he could before it reversed back, but will finally get himself some CS here. Still going to be about 20-25 behind. Assuming he gets them all, which he does to his credit. That turret also being low could be extra goal for the Victor, who's starting to leverage quite a bit of his lead in the 1v1.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Victor. I know coming into Scouting Grounds, people were saying that Victor is just going to be a pick ban. People didn't have it as much time when it started showing up at Worlds with Kleptomancy. They started just taking over solo queue. People were like, my Victors are feeding top lane over and over again against tanks and hard CC champions. But in a lot of these bruiser matchups that people are favoring now, the Victor will thrive and then get to a point where he can just burst people, even if he's behind or has a bad early game. Oh. He get that first turret for himself with almost no help, I would say. There's few dips in. The Rift Herald drop off there. Just got the charge, but not really anything in the gank department. Just some pressure, and now going after Fragus.
Ooh, good flash, but again, easy force there for the Camille. Strumpus also roaming up, but his Twin Shadows going to quote the Glacial Augment again, going after the jungler. Going to dive in. That damage was so much as Soraka heal. He's able to actually do enough to save them. Ult there from Fragus to try and get him out of there, but he's going to be put into the grinder. Fear Beyond Death will proc. Stumpy low, but he's not dead just yet. Fake God going to try and finish him off, but he can't quite get the kill. He resurrects in the Hextech Ultimatum. And now going to try and kite his way out. Umbral dash over the wall, still taking damage. Good knock up there onto Strumpest. Good second knock up there again. Good third knock up there onto Strumpest. And he will actually live.
He actually lived. That is nutty that he was able to do that. He gets the interrupt on the Disdain, and then he just keeps him at arm's reach just barely after the slow. So able to survive there. Still, Stumpy also able to survive on top of it with the maxed Q, the shield coming through, and then also the fact that there was a little bit of that Fear Beyond Death fear that stopped him from getting a final auto attack onto Misty. So the ultimate from Soraka comes through, saves Sir Kenji. The Fragus ultimate isn't really stopping any damage here. He gets pulled in, and then the fear stops him from getting that last auto, or at least the Q and flash before, or getting the sweet spot. And then right here, goes over, gets slowed. Ooh, that is exactly what you are looking for there. The 3 knockups. I feel like if that was played any differently, then he would have just dropped there from the damage.
Instead, both top laners continuing to show off here in this first game as Fake God actually, again, waiting for his wave. Find us on roam down and clear this control ward out. There's a Scuttle Crab there, but no smite for him, and it's kind of tough to contest. And Strumpus back at it again. Just saying, no interrupt this time around. The slow will land, though, after that Q, but Soligo going to protect him with the Twin Shadows. Ghosty's chasing down, but just a bit of damage, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, this is getting pretty tanky for the Urgot here. But that's Fragus once again picking up the Infernal Drake for his team. It's a 2,700 gold lead, but they have an Ocean, they have an Infernal. They're about to get this turret, even though the first turret went down topside. And now Sir Kenji, he's dedicated to that topside. He just got the control ward. They are trying to pressure Fake God very heavily in this matchup here.
And in fact, they'll move in to try and take down this turret. Misty Stumpy working on an Iceborne.
There's 3 people on their way top lane here.
2v2 though, Tactical taking damage. Fake God again, trying to kite his way out of there. Gets resurrected. Victorot still chasing him, still in a 1v3 situation. Fake God can't get out of that one. Misty Stumpy with an auto attack, able to clean that up.
Yep, just trying to be like, all right, you know what? We're just going to focus this guy down. But simultaneously, they're going to lose that mid turret bottom lane, and they're going to lose some damage on that mid lane as well. And this is actually, I think, a better trade overall for map pressure for Mountain because of the fact that they get to control the bottom side jungle here for just a little bit longer. And we'll see if they're able to do something with it, because ultimately it's going to be a kill and turret swaps.
Yeah, we were talking about how the map was split before. Now it's like really split.
Yeah, it's really split. And this is where whoever gets to the long lane,
oh yeah, dead. Just barely with that proc coming from the Vel'Koz passive.
Can't save you with that one. The Soraka can't heal herself except the ulti. Threw it down, wasn't enough. And didn't have the heal available from Tactical. So as soon as you get that first hit confirmed, the rest of them are just going to be easy to throw down.
And if you cast your mind back, Zirene, we've done a lot of this today, but think about, you know, the classic lane swap. splitting the map and making it very long. We'll talk about that in a second, though, because the down dive is coming into mid lane. Still, the Featherstorm out from Tactical. Could maybe save him, but Fragus diving into the backside as Faker takes down Kenji. Strumpus now caught under his own turret, but the Mountain will retreat. They pick up 2 kills, and I'll say that's more than enough.
And once again, Fragus goes into the back line, starts just wreaking havoc, and he's doing a great job on this Xin Zhao, and he was focusing the bottom half of the map. And now they're just trying to get towards that middle. On the left side, oh boy, is this going to be 3 people going to the top? Yeah, it looks like they might go for that turret. Prismal's going to pick that one up, and that's going to be a turret advantage here for Mountain.
What I was trying to say is when the map is split like this, mid tower becomes even more important than it normally is. So I understand Mountain's commitment here in the mid section of the map, and to that credit, it did almost work.
Great block from Call-In, stops the Feathers from being pulled all the way back. Fragus gets in the back line, finishes off the Xayah, and that allows the team to be completely split. That is a really great job there in terms of the engage. And now we're looking at a point where the Victor is coming through with the Iceborne Gauntlet. You do not want to duel him. This is going to be pretty much a bad day for Fate God in that side lane on the Aatrox, because he doesn't really team fight as well as the Victor, doesn't really accomplish as much in wave clear, so the Victor gets priority. And even in the duel, the 1v1, there's a lot of armor on the Victor and a slow on the Victor where he can kite you now, and it becomes so hard to actually destroy him because you bought a lethality item. And hold on, Duo King.
Yep, gonna get knocked up there just barely, but the Vel'Koz laser is enough. Now sweeps it over to Tactical. Fragus was looking for that kill with the W, but they'll get mid turret as a result. Soraka continually being picked on. There's the right in from Prismal with a killer instinct, able to take down the ultless Tactical, who still had flash. And again, Stumpy may be doing well in his half of the map, but the rest of the map is losing.
Yep. And this just seems like because the rest of the map is winning due to Fragus getting involved, and then now Soligo doing a really good job on the Vel'Koz, this has become an irrelevant top lane where even though this Victor's supposed to be smashing this matchup, and he is, it just does not matter in terms of the game state because Fate God is not dying to him in the side lane. He's not beating the Victor. And now the Victor has to back before he TPs in. We'll see.
They're very committed to this Baron by the looks of things.
Yeah, they're just looking for the right play. I mean,
the Strumpet's
about to go down.
Oh, look, I think he does. Yeah, he does. He's going to go in. He tries to steal, but he can't get it. Fragus with the clutch smite under pressure as Mountain now forced to fight their way out of the pit. They're trying to flash in. Prismal does get a kill into Strumpet over the wall from Vel'Koz with the ult. Oh! It's actually going to be enough. Everyone's still somehow alive as Call-In did actually go down, but they'll chase in. Fate God diving through with no ulti. Can't quite kite out Tactical, so will fall as a result. Fragus will also die as Soligo, he's got no flash left. Tack with the Featherstorm. He's going to make it an ace for Infernal.
And that is just a crazy fight on the end of it because the damage dealers are still up for Infernal. They still have Tactical. They still have Misty Stumpy. And even though the Baron went over to Mountain, they're all dead. There's no Baron left.
Big wave as well, top lane. I think Stumpy thought about it, but does not go for the potential inhib turret take. Instead, will just take the free gold off the Krugs. His respawn timers are pretty low because that was a 21-minute attempt at that Baron.
Yep, went for it very early on. I mean, they get it. It goes down, but it's enough time for the Victor to get in here afterwards. Oh, very close with the flash. And you can see Misty Stumpy gets in, throws down the ultimate. He's dealing a ton of damage here as Strompist is absorbing stuff. And then Fragus hits the blast cone and says, it's time to go back in as people drop. And it looks like Duo King, he gets dropped here by the flash from Fate God, but then Tactical at the same time. He just got back from purchasing. Misty Stumpy just got back from purchasing. And now the 2 damage dealers that show up at the tail end of the fight are able to pick it up.
Extra 600 gold shut down there as the fighting looks like it will continue. Oof.
Yeah.
Take a look at those damage numbers.
When you're all grouped up in the pit, that's going to do a lot of damage. And the fact that this is a Victor that has the upgraded Hex Core and had the Iceborne Gauntlet on top of it.
Misty going to get attacked here. Fragus should have enough and does. The Soligo grabs the shutdown. The 3-item Vel'Koz also having a very good showing.
He's going to be hard to reach. I don't know who's supposed to reach him besides the Camille. And if you can't reach that Vel'Koz, the artillery will just come through. It's even just like that last fight. They were able to reach him because he got blast coned back in afterwards. And also the landscape was not favorable for him. But Infernal Drake looks like it might get picked up here. And go over to Mountain for their second Infernal of the game.
Yeah, for all the kind of back and forth here, Mountain have still continue to grow on their lead for the most part. They get the Baron, they'll take Drake number 3, including 2 Infernals, and still pressuring those turrets 5-3 in that regard as well. And like you said, I mean, one hard winning lane has not been enough here for Infernal to have enough control of the map, given how aggressive Mountain are willing to be in almost every situation.
Yeah, it's the conversion of that lane that has to matter here. Like, that fight, when you finally get to group up with the person who's fed and they're a decent team fighter like a Victor, like a really good team fighter actually, then it's what you want to lean on. You don't want to have the Victor split pushing all the time anymore. You have to have him involved in these fights. And so it becomes a question of how much can Fake God pull him to the side, threaten turrets. So Fake God's almost going to become like the bait for the rest of the game to try and just pull the Victor to the side and threaten turrets and say, okay, you're wave clearing against me, you're not wave clearing against the rest of my team, and then they can go for picks with the Vel'Koz, with the Xin.
And again, credit to Fake God for just accepting his job. Like you said, he cannot win that 1v1, but who else are you going to send that's going to do any more than the Aatrox could? So again, just accepting the CS deficit, knowing that, you know what, if I get in a fight, I can still be relevant. I need to be tying up this guy's time in the side lane, at least when I can.
Yeah, because, I mean, the Aatrox is not as potent of a team fighter as the Victor, so it's just way more worth it to have a fed Victor that can team fight, like being pulled away by an Aatrox that is not as good in those big fights. Now they're going to get Stompist here, who has the Ghost. Let's see if he knocks him back. Ulti?
Yep, Fragus ult him back. Chains don't quite latch, but still have enough CC. The knockup lands. Stompist no flash, and he's dead. Kill again over to Fragus.
Yep, going to be 5-2-4. It's a day where one of the junglers does amazingly well in scoreline, the other one can't seem to get a kill or a break.
I will say, I think Fragus has collected more kills than necessary.
Hey,
but
as a jungler, I feel attacked. It's like that mid game where you're just like, oh, if you'd only given the kills over to this guy. I'm like, I'm 13-2, man.
They got the kills. That's really honestly all that matters. But
but they're gonna keep.
I appreciate his low security.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's see what the response is, because like now the Victor's split pushing because he can't really get anything else with the other person down on the map with Stompist not available. There goes the turret. Fake God is gonna kind of go between the mid and the bot.
Oh, goodness gracious, goodbye, Duo King. Such a good combo. Make it two as Kenji falls as well. And Victor, he already hit the recall button, but he's far too late to this party.
Ah, man, this is just one of those situations where a lot of the times top laners, they're like, what am I supposed to do? I'm not going to stop them sieging. In this case, I actually think a Victor would probably maybe stop them sieging with the wave clear he has. It's unusual that the top laner is a control mage like that too, right? Because a lot of the times, like, what is the Jax going to do? Just wait for them to take the turret and be back with the rest of the team? It's like, actually, the Victor probably has a good chance of stopping the wave, but no, decides to keep pushing, doesn't even get that turret. So they lose 2 turrets on the top side and the inhibitor, and they don't even get that one on the opposite side. And you can see right here, like, a Victor would have been fantastic because then Tactical doesn't have to step up. Duo King just gets bopped, completely destroyed. And it's just pretty swift work here, too. That was a very quick engage while the Victor was off in the side lane.
Yeah, Vel'Koz is a gross champion.
When he's played correctly, absolutely.
I think for all of the attention we've put on the top half of the map for Mountain between Fake God and Fragus, who, to be fair, have had a good game and a good tournament, this Vel'Koz is doing so much work to bridge the gap between those two. As Fake God in another 1v2, flashes out of there for the first time. See if he can get his way out, but no, pulled back in. Is now going to resurrect, but a little closer to his enemies, unfortunately, but Fragus might be able to save him. Muches forward. Stumpy will get the kill, but the team is here again to collect their prizes. Prismal over the top, going to try and take down Stumpy, but Victor pretty tanky, actually, as the rest of Infernal maybe arrives in time to turn this back around. An ult from Soraka, barely saves. Strompas is calling. He's going to die to Tactical now. Prismal, he's going to go down to Stumpy. Infernal, they turn it back around.
Somebody order an ambulance. Here's Duo King just pumping heals into the back line, into the front line. Make sure nobody dies on his team there, even though that was a fight that looked like it was going to go south very quickly. If they cannot pick up those kills immediately, the Soraka's going to come through huge.
And Baron's up in 10 seconds. Infernal already over to the area. Going to try and at least take down the speed shrine, but perhaps more on the horizon. There's a TP in. This is a pretty heavy commitment to the objective.
Man, you can be 1-6 on this Soraka, and the most deaths in the entire game, and you could still be a menace to the team fight if you are not focused down.
All right, so how does a flashless Fragus get into this pit? They're going to start on Stumpy, going to try and take him down. He's the big raid boss that needs the kill, but the Vel'Koz just dies to the Victor ulti. That's going to give them zone around the Baron. Fragus cannot get in the area to steal it, so they have to concede it. Fake God going to get chased down by Stumpy. Dodges that laser very nicely, pulled back by the chains as Fake God is going to dash over the wall and try and get himself to safety. He will live, but You said it, Stumpy groups with his team and they just start hammering these fights.
Yeah, I feel like all Stumpy has to do is run up in the front line, Q constantly on cooldown with the massive amount of CDR that he has, and just shield himself, run around, slow them down, and then when he does take damage and shields himself, he's just getting heals from Duo King. That was him on the front line, and he killed Soligo by himself with a little bit of assistance there from Duo King, just helping him out with the healing. But that is huge if the Victor is able to be a frontline tank like that and just skirt the fight. And we'll see that one more time. Right here, though, this is where Fake God, he's putting the moves on, gets put in the meat grinder, almost gets away, but gets killed by the last little portion there. At the end, ultimate comes out from Fragus, and then Strompus starts getting low after this, and Zirene low, gets healed. Duo King throws down the ultimate, saves Strompus just barely, who walks away with a shield, and then the flash for the heal onto Stumpy, who just flashes for the final little blow there. But he was on the other side of the fight without much assistance from Duo King almost the whole time, and he's able to just get a little bit of help because he's fed, and the Soraka's just gonna make that even a bigger issue for the enemy team.
Yeah, we introduced you earlier to Vel'Koz. Here's Victor, also a very good champion. As Stumpy is starting to show off as he's joining with his team. Reminder that there are still super minions pushing into this top lane, but Infernal do push out that lane, and I think Fake God spent his time pushing that one out, although do have to regroup because the mid lane outer is still up for Mountain and is currently under attack, as Infernal did grab the Baron as well after all that. Tactical knocked up though, but Duo King gives him all his health back. Yeah, and it's absolutely necessary too, because he took, I think, almost 800 damage there, and they just had like 400 plus heals pumped into him very quickly. And you can see Duo King has gone for the Mikhail's, which has 15% heal and shielding power, and the Ardent Sensor, which has an extra 8 on top of it. So he's going for the healing and shielding power for his items. He doesn't care too much about like redemption or anything like that. He's going strictly for having more of that healing. Looks like it's working out so far, as Infernal still continuing to pressure here. They've got one turret. They're going to try and take the second here in mid lane. Now I'm just trying to wave clear as best they can. Vel'Koz's not bad at that. There's also pressure building in the bot lane with the minions from Mountain, and still the top lane with the supers.
Yeah, not anymore though, as the inhibitor just respawned. So now it comes down to who can find the engage, how do you get it, and it's a lot of this setup because this Baron on for 40 more seconds here.
Yeah, they have plenty of time. I believe there's at least 1 or 2 supers still in the top wave, but again, they can take down the turret. Use their maximum amount of Baron, as Tactical shrugs off yet another bit of lasers thanks to Duo King's heals.
It's 400 heal every single time, so you have to be able to deal more than about, I think it's like 300 DPS to him. There's a 1.4 second cooldown on that heal.
See, Big Wave finally crashes. They use the last of their Baron buff to speedy recall back to base and clear out this wave. There's that super minion we thought was there. Duo King actually gets most of them down by himself, and Tactical make sure he gets the rest. So game's pretty much reset at this point. Mountain's still up by only 1,000 gold. Yes, they have an inhib to attack. Their map position overall is a bit more open, so they have a few more places they can go to try and start something. But as far as the game state goes, it's going to be very even as we roll back around to the Elder and the Baron spawns.
Yeah, and then it comes down to where this gold is, because there's a 2,000 or 2.6k gold advantage for Fragus over Zirene, but Zirene, like we said, he's more supportive style, and he's not going to make as much use of that gold even if he had it. Whereas there's, I believe this is a 4.4 thousand gold lead for Misty Stumpy in the top lane. 2 levels up now. The Victor got very fed off of some of those team fights, picked up the majority of the kills because nobody else on the team has kill to their name except for one other person who has 3, and he's sitting on 6. He has 100% KP here on this Victor at 6-1 and 5. When the fight happens, he has to be involved in it for his team to have anything going for them, and he's been doing a major job here for the team in the later parts of the game. So it's the fact that he has been this big boon for them has allowed them to stay in this game. Plus Kleptomancy, it's also going to give him a large amount of gold on top of it.
Now you can see Soligo is off the side, hoping to pick off a straggler or 2.
Yeah, you want
Deathcap actually now finished.
You want to get that E and then try to spot them and land that ultimate before you can get interrupted. Because the Vel'Koz, you'll be instantly interrupted by Duo King's silence, and you'll have to move and recognize that very quickly.
So of course makes the Rock the #1 target, but fight actually going to start here onto NG, Fragus dives in, stopwatch pop, Prismal in the backline's going very deep, aggressive, trying to get the damage down, but he can't quite get it with the Runaan's Hurricane Bolts. And now a turn back around, the Victor ult in the choke is just demolishing all of Mountain. And Stumpy, he's not done, can keep chasing here with the Q call. And like, I have to block or all my team is dead.
What's going on over there in that bush?
Left side recalls, but Tactical spots him. Prismal almost dead, but lives for a little while longer. Velko's trying to finish his recall. Will be able to do so, but now the inhibitor turrets are actually exposed.
Yeah, they just push the wave, and that's 2 waves as well, because the bottom side also has Strompus there.
Tower likely going to fall here, but perhaps they can protect their inhibitors. Tactical already finishing things off in mid. Will stay around for, needs one more order. Doesn't quite finish it off just yet. The minion grabs it, but they flash forward to try and pick up the kill. Duo still alive, but now Stumpy and Tactical actually on the front side. Stumpy down, that's a big shutdown there for the side of Mountain, but Tactical will live on the other side.
It's a big shutdown for them, but it's a little bit desynced with the Elder and the Baron, which are both up in 50 seconds, and so is Misty Stumpy, who will be up in time and has teleport. So whichever one they go for, people will reset on the map right now, pick up some of your buffs if you can get them, and wait for which objective you're going to be going for. We'll see what the call is here, because Mountain, it's a much more effective Elder for them, right? But they do want to pick up that Baron, because it's just the better objective to siege with, especially against something like a Victor.
Yeah, and of course to add kind of different problems to the mix, that inhibitor did fall in mid just barely. So there's also that pressure from the minions moving in towards the mid section of the map as well. So we had some speedy-ish games in our last series. This one is going, I would say, late for Scouting Ground standards, given how bloody and fast the games have been. And given that these other 2 teams in the final, this game went from looking like a Mountain Snowball victory to a very close affair.
Yeah, it was that 21-minute Baron that they attempted up against, rushing in.
Yep, Faker goes in. Duking gonna get snagged by the next Ghost. No, doesn't quite get tagged, but they are gonna try and force the fight. Here comes Victor, though. Strompus dead to Fragus. Mountain gonna try and fight a 4v5, maybe make it 3v5 as Kenji dies there as well. Stumpy with a decent ult, but he can't quite get a pick off, and now Mountain will have 5 members on this next objective.
Yeah, but a lot of them are pretty low here. Fake God and Fragus will both have to back, and Fragus is the one who's going to be in charge of getting those smites down. It doesn't have it for this next objective here. And right now, this may actually be just a 3-man on the Elder. Yeah, Elder's very easy to kill. You don't need pretty much anybody to have multiple tanks or anything like that, or swap aggro. Doesn't reduce your damage. So they're actually going to swap objectives here. The Baron for the team that has so many Drakes, but then the Elder's going to go over to the team that has none.
Yep, 2 carries in a Soraka, more than enough to take down the Elder. So Mountain take the trade. Now again have to go back and fix their mid lane, because there are super minions charging in there as well. And despite the team fight win, Mountain gonna have to see what they can do with it. The Baron as we revisit this exchange once more.
Yep, and there's the Youmu's and the ultimate on top of the Spooky Ghost coming in for Strompus. They kill him pretty quickly, and Duo King not able to get around and pump those heals into him fast enough or hard enough. And Gravity Field into the ultimate. Everybody's getting pretty tanky with some Sterix gauges there for both of the Bruisers on Mountain. So I felt like those Sterix just went away so quickly too. They popped. You hear the animation, you see them get a little larger, but don't really have a shield anymore. Just gets blown up by the ultimate from Misty Stumpy.
I mean, he's just doing so much damage, looking like a death cap as that final item that'll finish off here in a few moments more of farming. But again, everyone's really stacking up and finishing off their builds.
It's funny because he only has 343 AP. Right, this build is not about ability power, but hold on.
Yeah, Prismal found KG. Great ult there from the Braum to start off that killer instinct. Prismal picks up an easy one, and Mountain again, a 5v4 for 45 seconds with 2 minutes on Baron.
And we are 38 minutes in. Sir Kenji has 2 items, boots and pieces, not even the big piece of a BF sword for moving towards that GA. He has basically 2.5 items at 38 minutes. He is so far behind. And it is something that they're able to exploit. As soon as he's out of position, he is incredibly squishy.
Fake God being persistent, trying to move minions into the bottom half of the turret. With the top inhibitor already exposed, Mountain are trying to take the other 2 lanes before they maybe go over there to finish the job. Stumpy again, though, pretty strong, but his team's waiting in the wings. Mountain trying to dip away, hoping somebody stands somewhere silly. And also just waiting for the wave. Turret, I think, will fall on this wave here. Have to be careful. The carries are very strong on the other side. That's going to be Kai'Sa getting blown up. Was silenced for a second by the Victor ulti and couldn't flash out of there.
It looked like Prismal just got obliterated. He didn't have flash. It's coming up in 2 seconds here. Ooh. As the white little line that's hard to see in the yellow just ticks right over. So out of position just barely and gets absolutely decimated there. But that's going to be a push now coming through. The Baron buff, they'll have to buff up some minions because they will have supers here. They just got to make sure these things are tanky. Call-in is going to be in charge of that, just keeping the buff on them.
Without getting picked off by the 2 carries.
Yep, because they can force a fight. You got to find a way to get to this wave. The wave clear would be Soligo.
Ooh, good ult there from Fragus, but it's defensive there. We'll get caught by a root from Zaya's feathers, but not quite enough. Smites the super. Again, gonna try and buy time. Tactical force to flash Fragus. Good heads-up play under the turret. Oh. Now Soligo goes forward. Flash GLP. But there's going to be the dive into the backside. They're not going to quite gravity him. Respawns in the mix of it all. Fakot is able to kill Sir Kenji, but Strumpus getting low. The gravity field pulls Fragus back. They killed the Vel'Koz as well. And Strumpus pops the watch to live a few seconds longer.
And now Prismal is up. They went in on the engage just a little bit too early. That was one where they were able to just have the engage happen from Infernal. And
he's trying for it. He finds Dua King. He's able to surf over there, but I think he's going to die as a result. He will die to Stumpy. Fakot maybe trying to pull the wave and buy what time he can. But again, the 2 carries here from Infernal. The Victor and the Zaya staying alive. Fakot, he's trying to buy time. He does have ult. He'll have... Oh, it's GA, excuse me. You're right. Will revive, but it's only in place. Stumpy again going to try and buy time. The feathers will get dodged around, but Stumpy able to finish it off. There's the shutdown. I think that might be it. No one alive from Mountain. It's Infernal with a comeback victory. We'll take Nexus #1.
And what a fantastic display there from Misty Stumpy on that Victor. Pretty much the rest of the map looked like it was doomed. The Baron fight, he's able to come in, lays down a great ultimate, skirts the fight perfectly, and he's able to make an immense amount of use of his advantage.
That was a wild game.
Yeah, that was back and forth, but it was one of those ones where like that is a game that as a top laner in Scouting Grounds, if you were able to carry the game out of this almost like dead state for your team, then you're gonna be somebody that people are looking at.
I feel like in a lot of ways, all the players we kind of hyped up before the game started all played really well on both sides. And then I think people on top of that also played maybe better than we would have expected. And that's the game we got. And if honestly, I'm going to get 2 more of those in the rest of this best of 3, I'm happy to see more of these players play because that was quite a fun one.
Yeah, it's always a treat to watch players like Fake God know how to play at a disadvantage, even though he doesn't get to do much in this game. But also at the same time, Misty Stumpy, like I was saying, like he's somebody that like I consider a really big role model because the fact that he is able to play like that and just pop off and play mechanically intense champions, it just makes me go like, what am I doing with my life, man? Like
we're casting great games. The League of Legends
true,
that's
true. That's
we're
true.
also going to throw it over to the analysts to see what they make of that game 1.
I'm fine. Hello, thank you very much, Pastry Time. That was quite the game. I want to point out, by the way, that even though Mountain Drake did lose, Otto was the bigger loser. Quote, 0% chance to lose that game with double Infernal Drake. Literally 0. Quote me on it.
I guess they took their Infernal, so they were a little pissed. So.
Yeah.
It was a scrappy game.
There were
multiple times both teams were in a position to like win from there. I think Otto wasn't wrong in what he was saying.
It was
most of the time.
0%.
0, but give it another percent.
You never know. I mean, that's what I thought with our games when I played 2 years ago in the finals. But you know, I walked it down.
Yeah, you
fog
can choke. Yeah.
There's always a way.
There's always a way
in Scouting Grounds.
There is. There's a way in a lot of League of Legends games. I've seen crazy comebacks too. We've seen that happen. Either way, comp on the screen. Of course, we have Duo King. I want to kind of point out, right, bringing out his own pocket pick, the Soraka coming in there, which had a lot of lane pressure. There's a CS lead, but gosh, did that get ganked? They got plowed through in the bottom lane really early on. Call I thought was really good on Braum, especially to counteract that. Got some good flash engages. What did you guys see in this?
To me, it kind of felt like top versus bot, where Misty Stumpy with the Victor was able to stabilize from a lot of the things that went wrong in the early game due to the bot lane getting ganked all the time, and a great job by Call-In kind of carrying that bot lane. So it felt like it was those 2 guys as the main focuses of each team.
Yeah, I think for bot lane, like Mountain had Xin Zhao and a Braum against Soraka. It's like, okay, gank that lane. Yeah. Use your flash and hit the Braum key. Like, at least there's that level of communication. It looked really well set up, and it was executed pretty well. So I think, yeah, it looked pretty solid. And like you said, it was just top difference versus bot difference. It's whoever could carry the game, basically.
Yep, and certainly we had some pretty big missteps. I know at a certain point we'll have highlights of this game where team fights went in weird spots. You talked about the fact that the game was going to be able to be ended, and that got turned around. So this is one of those first fights there. The Q flash, I think, really well timed.
Yeah, and
face
then
down.
Tactical is trying to like help out his buddies, like, oh, Brahm's ignited, and then he's like, oh, now I'm dead. So at least he saved his sums. That's I give him credit for that, so that's good. And
Yeah.
then, yeah,
This is a missed Camille E-flash.
Yeah, and this is like where it starts getting bad to worse. It would have been a hard 2v2 because they didn't have vision on exactly where the Zin was anyways, and then they also missed the flash. Turns that one around pretty easily, but then things start working back in their favor. At this point, Victor had picked up a couple kills, and people go to the big purple throw machine. And even though they get the initial kills, this is some of that greed coming in where you all flash out, you can get your Baron buffs and reset on the map and have a good time with the people who got out and the Victor ulting. Or you can blast home back in!
Hey, we in it. They're going in.
And
That's a 4v2 right there, but then Xayah shows up.
Yeah, the Xayah shows up who was dead until this point. You also have the Victor who was unfocused the entire time, who had just shopped the Xayah as well coming back in the fight, and they get wiped with their first Baron buff.
Yeah, I mean, when that happens and Baron's on the map 25 minutes and it's like, okay, next Baron's like 30-something minutes, so it's just like no one has Baron, just 7 minutes of nothing too much happening, and then this right here.
This is right before they like almost win the game. They actually have really good ward control. You can see lots of, as they kind of zoom out, control wards. 3 in the bottom jungle, 1 in the upper jungle there, but yeah. Oops, Tactical gets caught out and they just turn it around.
Yeah, oops into oops. First, like you said, Tactical dying on Kai'Sa with flash up just gets rooted and then silence. Good job by Duo King. And then here with Kai'Sa, 5-10 seconds away from coming up, they actually go aggressive instead of just focusing on wave clear. Yeah, Another huge mistake, which opens the game up to get turned around and lost with a gold lead, boys. That's what you like to see.
Yeah.
Want to correct myself? Sorry, Prismal. Tactical was the Xayah. I'm sorry, the names are similar enough that I confused myself. But yeah, I mean, I thought Tactical, the real one, Xayah, actually had a really good game when bot lane was going really, really terribly. Still had a pretty positive KDA, 4-3-3 before that final fight. Right, had that catch onto the Kai'Sa, which was really good as well. But yeah, you see like those giant chunks of gold leads. Like that is obviously a throw.
Yeah, it's nothing much. Oh, they got a gold lead a little bit.
Oh, there's little bits of blue.
A little bit
At
there.
the end, I'm pretty sure that's still red.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Anyways, if your gold draft's a mountain range, it was not a clean game. But I think, you did see a lot of standout plays from people, which, we've heard from all the coaches and people involved in scouting grounds. That's what you want to see. Call in was someone that was very impressive to both of us, not just in the early game setup on the kills, but a number of skirmishes as well.
Yeah, I wonder if he's like in control. It's like, hey guys, like get your pinks, or control wards, even though it's like 40 minutes in the game. It's like someone's still contributing to like vision. I'm not sure if it's him, but for sure his Braum play was like pretty solid.
And then for me on the flip side, Misty Stumpy, I think it was like 56k damage.
Yeah, that guy is
by far the most.
It was absolutely disgusting performance. I mean, Victor is a very strong champion, but you got to see what he was able to do with that. Even in a game where things were not perfect for him, like his bot side was losing, Victor does want a little bit of time to kind of bully the top lane, and he didn't get that much time to actually create a monstrous gold lead, and it came down to a lot of late game skirmishes and team fights.
It was able to be an item up on his opponent pretty much by the end of it all. Have heard word Mountain Drake has chosen to stay on red side, their side choice for this game. So much like the previous series, actually, we're going to have the same sides for the first 2 games. And we'll see what champ select looks like if they're going to ban away the Victor, because Stumpy obviously was smashing. And that's probably a champ you get away from him and you try to fight another matchup there. Going to be interesting to watch for. Either way, game 2 of Mountain versus Infernal is coming up, and we'll see who comes out on top after the break.